How about you?
But the person I need to share it when you're boss, you can go in like this. I always have to boss. When you hiding there, I fuck out.
Oh, I thought that you were in that car. Yeah, the car, you live in that car and they get one of people.
He is still the share when you're
What's up, man? Me finding Danny? I didn't see you. I'm about what's going on. 6'6". Sure. Right there. What's going on?
Gotta be power off.
Vivian!
Oh, Daddy, get some time.
Man, I got one there, man.
I G-checking, I got. I G-checking the bed. I said that man, I said Nike. Go line on Nike. Jamais tu ne fais pas bien le bel away.
I think you never get it.
No, like they're friendly, man. Yeah. Well, they got beat more. They went high on them.
But Jamaica, here in Jersey.
They finished.
Bring it in, gentlemen. Please bring it in. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you for this game between Northeast All-Star and the Veteran All-Star. I'm happy that today we have the bearer of the collaboration party. We interacted last night in Burlington. Mr. Edison Cummings. So we all will need your undivided attention. Mr. Cummings will be here tomorrow at the African United Methodist Church to worship with us. And I was later told that the town hall won't be possible tomorrow. But if you have any question today, you can ask the presidential hopeful, Robert Alexander Benedict Cummings. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together as we welcome the political leader of the CPP. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm not a political leader of the CPP. No? Okay, so I just want to say something quick. You know, not too often do we have our political leaders coming to talk to us. It doesn't matter whether you are from the other political party, we are all Liberians. When someone of a status of a political leader comes to your town, it's respectful to come and see you and talk to you, to have a conversation with you. So this is all about a conversation. Mr. Cummings respects every Liberian. He's in this you know, he's around the Trenton area, so he decided to stop by and speak to you all.
Thank you.
And you know, you will entertain some questions if you have some questions, but this is just a friendly conversation. So at least you can know that your, you know, a political leader is here and he respects the Liberian community and he wants to just have a conversation with you. Okay? So I will turn the mic over to him. If you have a question, Mr. Cummings is free. He's open to any question, but just be respectful in your questioning, and he will address your answer.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Hello, Mr. Cummings.
You must be hungry after the game, right? Yeah.
Oh, no,
Who won?
The game drew. Target. Yeah, 2-2.
Really?
3-3, rather.
Draw is not a good outcome. Somebody should have won. But anyway, good afternoon. It's good to be here in New Jersey. Is this Hamilton? Is that what we are?
This is Hamilton.
I'm good to be with you all. And as Yao said, we will take any questions you have, any comments. As you know, we are aspiring to serve our people as leader. Elections are only about 100 days away, or 1 day, I think, next week. And so this is probably my last visit to the U.S. prior to the election. And they trying to encourage me to come out one more time, I may or may not. But it's good to be in the Jersey area. I used to live in a different part of Jersey a long time ago. West or 80, west of Morristown, a place called Hopatcong, New Jersey. So I'm familiar with the state a little bit, not too much because that was a long time ago. But again, it's good to be with you. Let me just take any questions, comments, thoughts about any subject, anything on your mind. While you're thinking about it, just about myself, I'm married to my wife named Teresa. We've been married for 40 years. We got 2 children. My daughter Ayo, my son Boykai. We have five grandchildren. My family from Maryland, some from Nima as well, but from Maryland, from the rural side. I grew up in Monrovia. First, we lived across the bridge in Point 4. If you're familiar with that part of Monrovia, and then Fiamma. I went to demonstration school on Clay Street, then I went to CBA, then I went to Cuttington, then I finished undergraduate school in the US. I went back home, I worked at LBDI as an analyst at the bank. And I came for graduate school, and then, you know what, trying to get some experience in war broke out, made it difficult to go back. I worked for a company called the Pillsbury Company in Minneapolis for almost 15 years. And then my last almost 20 years, I worked for the Coca-Cola Company. I've lived and worked in Nigeria, in Kenya, in South Africa, here in the US, in the UK, United Kingdom. So I've been blessed to have had very different kinds of experiences. My last job at Coca-Cola, I had responsibility for most of the company's functions globally around the world. You know, the market value, if you Google Coca-Cola, the market value of Coca-Cola is about 260 billion US dollars. So it's a big, complex organization, and we help manage it very, very well. And so we want a chance to bring some systems, some processes, some procedures to do some things differently in Liberia. I often say our country will not change because we talk it, or because we wish it to change, or because we pray to change. We gotta pray to change. But Liberia will change, and we're prepared to do the work, make the sacrifice, and do things differently. One of my favorite sayings is that you can't keep doing the same thing and expect different results. You know, if they're using a battery radio, the battery will run down, but you keep putting the same battery in the radio will not work, right? You gotta put a new battery. And so for Liberia to change, we gotta work hard, do things differently. And then our country will move forward. I often say too that I don't like the big shot business. Do you know who I am? Everybody gotta follow the rules. Everybody gotta play by the rules. Because if we're not prepared to do that, our country will not change. Right? In this country, right, people go to work on time. They don't drink and drive. They follow all the rules. We gotta do the same in our country, among many other things, for Liberia to change. But anyway, let me pause. And let me just hear from you. Anything, any subject.
Okay, so the way we'll work is this. I know everybody got questions, but we'll do it one at a time. We'll recognize you, ask your question,
And then just say who you are.
And yeah, just tell her who you are. And please, let's not make it like a debate. Ask your question clearly, and Mr. Cummings will answer. So we'll start with this gentleman right here. He was the first.
Okay.
Yeah, so how you doing? My name is John Green. I'm based in Philadelphia. I'm a business owner. I own a restaurant, and I'm one of the biggest promoter in America. I do events with different African. I do tours, a lot of stuff. So what are your plans to really change Liberia? Because, like you said, start with the people. When I look at Liberia, the problem with Liberia is the Liberian people. You turn it out weird. What is your plans like when it comes to like the police and the criminal justice and all these things? It's like, what are your plans to change that system for it to make sense for people like Liberia?
Yeah. So, no, I'll take one at a time. So, one of the things we talk about, and I don't think any other political party or individual talks about the fact that we say we have to engage the hearts and minds of Liberians to change the country. So, I will get to criminal justice system, all that stuff, but if we don't engage us as a people differently, if we don't own the country, we don't own the problems, we don't own the solution, the country will not change. And so we're looking at things like, we've done some work on this, how you can use sports, how you can use arts, music, culture, religion to help us think differently about ourselves and about each other. If you think about sports, in sports you gotta follow the rules, right? Whether it's football, kickball, basketball. In sports, to do it well, you gotta do it with integrity, right? In sports, you gotta have teamwork. So we are actually looking at how we can be intentional that we're using sports. You mentioned you promote, right? How you can use arts, culture, because that's how you can connect to young people, right? How you can use religion, how we can use this thing to intentionally influence how we think about each other, how we relate to each other, how we treat each other, right? So we talk about engaging hearts and minds as one of the most important things we need to do to change Liberia. But then beyond that, we gotta fix many of the social ills of our country, and part of that is the judicial system. Right? Today, you can do almost anything in our country and get away with it. That cannot be. That's why I mentioned in this country here, you have a business, you file taxes, follow the rules, right? Everybody go to work on time, we gotta do those things like that, right? If we can do it in America, in the UK, wherever we live, we can do it in Liberia as well. And we will insist that everybody has to follow the rules. I described the Liberia we want to develop as this bowl of rice. Rice is our staple, we all eat rice. Inside this bowl of rice, we want to have good jobs, good education, good healthcare, good roads, good infrastructure, good judiciary, and we want to guarantee everybody every Liberian the right to put your hand in that bowl of rice. Because you don't choose your tribe, you don't choose whether you're Gola, Kio, Ba, Congo, Madingo, Grebo, you don't choose your gender, whether you're male or woman, you don't choose your religion you're born into. So we want to guarantee everybody the right to put their hand. The only thing that will stop you if you break the law. Because breaking the law is a choice. You can choose to break it or not. But you can choose that you're born a man or woman. Or you can choose your tribe. Or you can choose you're born Christian or Muslim. So those things should not stop you from participating in this country we call Liberia. But you gotta obey the law. And then if you're lazy, you're not immersed in the rice. If you're strong, you work hard, you eat. Because we want to make the bowl of rice bigger. So engaging hearts and minds is important. I'm glad that's the first question you asked. And the kinds of things you do, if we're intentional about how we use it, it will influence how we think about ourselves, each other, how we work together, teamwork, integrity, sportsmanship. Those things will be important. They consider soft. But if we fix those things, then when we fix the roads, the electricity, educational system, it will endure. We will maintain it if we get into the hearts and minds of Liberia. So that's what we focus on. And following the rules for me is so important, right? Because you can choose to do that or not. All right, I will take two at a time, man.
how our children are really looking for food. What is it that you're bringing to the table to bring up our youth? Because our youth is our future. And if we don't help the youth, we don't know it. Everybody ready to spend stuff on our children out. Went down on Memorial House. Some children, 8 to 9 years old, running after the car with their bags. And the car is there, they won't buy it. But the car is there rolling while the children are running behind them to just stop in a small truck. So my question to you is, what are you bringing to the table to help our children, our grandmothers? Because those are the people that are suffering. People in the big businesses. I went to the clubs and stuff. And when you job, I said, when you got money, like bro, you can job. But when you got money, you suffer. So what are you bringing to the table to help these people to bring them up so that it will be famine the way I saw it in Nigeria?
All right, thank you. So we're going to take one more now.
I don't have a question for you because we know when someone is running for opposition, they become a lot of but my saying here is that I want to let you know that our country is going way beyond. We are the oldest African country in West Africa. Our security system is not good. Our children are without no education, the health system is poor. The only action I can tell ourselves, these are the kind of things that we want you to do. Security system, health system, but these are the kind of things that the country.
You're not finished.
So, even though you didn't have a question, I will address your point because everybody who runs for office, and then I'll answer your question too. Everybody who runs for office comes and, as you said, make promises, right? And one of my favorite things, I always say that the best way to predict, the best way to tell what somebody will do in the future, so the best way to predict future behavior or future performance is based on past behavior, past performance. That's why when you go for a job, they ask you for your resume, they ask you what your experience, what you've done, right? So I often say to people, all I want to come and tell you what we think you want to hear, but you have to look at my past experience, my past background, what I've done, as the best way to judge what I would do what I say I would do. And I've had the opportunity of, again, as I mentioned, managing people and businesses around the world and delivering consistently results, right? Otherwise, you don't get to where I got it if you're not delivering results. I'm also a person who I'm very careful what promises I make. Because if I can't do something and you ask me to do it, I will say I can't do it. Not because I won't be present, I will say so. Because I'm a man who believes that what you say you will do, you're supposed to do. You gotta keep your word. I'm not perfect, but I try to keep my word, keep my commitments. And so if you look at my history, my track record, what we've done in the country, even before politics, should give you a good sense that we were bound to do what we say we'll do. We have managed, as I mentioned, large, complex organizations and deliver and did it with integrity. They didn't steal anybody money in that process. So hopefully my background, my history will give people some comfort that I'm not just talking, right? It's talking and we'll do what we say we'll do. On our young people, Liberians are suffering, not just young people, by the way. And as you mentioned, by any measure, Liberia is going backwards, right? Don't take my word for it. Not because I'm running one, maybe you think, so I will be critical. But by any way you measure Liberia, we're going the wrong direction. So to change Liberia, we gotta do several things, right? First thing I mentioned is we gotta engage Liberians. All of us gotta be involved in this change. It will not be just another committee. So we'll lead it, we'll make a sacrifice, we'll set an example. All of us gotta help to change this thing called Liberia. All of us gotta make a sacrifice and do things differently. One of the things we'll do different is there's this dependency on government. We will use the private sector, we will grow the economy. We will help to create jobs, because when we create jobs, people will be able to take care of their children. Then they will not be on the street selling. You know, a lot of times people say Liberian people are lazy. That's nonsense. We're among the hardest working people in the world. It's just that we have not created the environment so that hard work can reward you. So in Liberia, you know, market where Bible and drugstore is still there. A few people enjoy the country, the rest of the people do all the work and do the suffering. That's part of what we have to change. So we will invest in the educational system to take our young people off the street. We will grow the economy to create jobs. We will make sure civil servants, that everybody gets paid a living wage in Liberia. Because the reason why the children are on the street selling is because that's how they can support their family and the children. So people will get paid a living wage, they will get paid regularly, they will get paid on time, so they can support their families, and we can take our young people off the street and create jobs and give them skills. We will make sure we have a two-track educational system. So those that want to be, you know, lawyers and doctors, but we also need carpenters, electricians. So we need vocational training, we need teacher training. That will also address some of the challenges for the young people. So we have a lot of issues in Liberia, but it can be fixed. And I don't say overnight, but it can happen. It can. And look, if you just go to the Ivory Coast, we live in the same region, right? I mean, they're not in this part than you and I, but it's our leadership. Even you go to Freetown, they just had the election, a lot of noise. But I went to Maryland recently. I had to go to Ivory Coast. How embarrassing! The oldest republic in Africa, and they rule impossible. So even the speaker, the prime minister, all had to go to Ivory Coast. How embarrassing that was, right? So these are some of the challenges the country faces. But again, as a people, if we work together, we collaborate, we do the hard work, we can change our country.
We'll come to you and then I'll come to you. My name is Sheldon Flava. Thank you for coming. I got one issue. It's corruption.
Stealing.
Corruption.
Stealing.
Politicians will come and convince us, oh, you will get there and see the corruption. Or they get it, don't worry. But typical example, look at the government right now. I mean, people that never had one bedroom, they have mansions, estates. What will you do? Or can you convince people to vote for you when you get there? What will you take on corruption?
Yeah, so I stopped using the word corruption because it makes it sound good. Corruption, they're stealing, and they are rogues, right? Let's call it. Yeah, it doesn't make it sound good, Jacob, right? So there are several things we have to do to stop this corruption, and we got to do all of these things I want to talk about. One is, there's gotta be punishment. There's gotta be consequences for people that steal from the Liberian people. And so, how are you? Welcome the Vice President of the Republic of Liberia. So I'll ask you a question on corruption. So, first thing, Jacob, we gotta punish.
We got 1 minute going on now too.
We gotta punish the people that steal. There gotta be consequences. Today in Liberia, people steal with impunity. They just, and so I don't care whether you're my mother, my father died, my mother too old to work. But whether you family, your friends, you're from the CPP, if you steal Liberians for money, there will be consequences. You will be punished. And we're not just, you know, ask you to resign or retire though. We will prosecute you and we'll go after the assets that you acquired for stealing that money. But beyond punishing people, we have to make sure we're paying the Liberian people a living wage. If you're not paying the teacher enough money, you will take money to change the grades. If you're not paying the healthcare workers enough money to support their family, they will sell the drugs, but it's going to be free. If you're not paying the policeman a living wage, he will pull you over. and take money from you because you gotta go feed his family. So in addition to punishing people, we gotta make sure people are paid a living wage and they are paid consistently. They are paid consistently. Then we gotta simplify rules and regulations. If you make it complicated, right? The few people that are educated and know they will use it to take money from the people that don't understand it. So simplification. We'll use technology. Look, you can do everything almost on this device today. You can do your banking. You know, you can everything you do, right? We'll use technology, e-government, that will help to reduce the stealing, and we'll be able to track people that take library money. So we'll do a combination of things, but the most important thing though is there gotta be consequences for people that do that steal or who break any law in the country today, right? Because today you can get away with any library. Right?
Can I just do it for
We will, yes, we will empower the integrity institutions and we'll let them follow the evidence. So meaning the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, the General Counsel, all of these institutions that are supposed to go after corruption, make sure they got the right people, they got the right resources, and then they will go after. And we'll not say go and prosecute Jacob. That's not my job. But if the evidence lead to you, then you will report it, so be it. That's the kind of process we want. But we'll make sure those institutions got the right people with the right skills. They are empowered with the resources, and then they will follow the evidence. Wherever it lead, whoever it lead to my sister, my son, my daughter, doesn't matter. Leads to the previous government, the current government, doesn't matter. If it leads to you, you will have to bear the consequences.
Can I do a follow-up, please?
One second.
Follow-up.
Take it one at a time.
Follow-up.
If he has a follow-up, man. Okay, here's a follow-up question.
Mr. Cumming, my name is Robert Clark. How far is the investigation with respect to retired Southern Rally, money that went missing from the home political institution?
Right. So I will answer your question, but I want to distinguish private theft from stealing from the public, from the Liberian people. Two different things. That's the distinction.
What's the difference?
You say you answer.
Two different things, and we're going after both. But when somebody steals my money, it only affects me as Zana Comics. When somebody steals money from Liberian people, it affects everybody. Difference between private theft, that's the difference. One person is affected, one person money is stolen. Stealing from Liberian people, you affected everybody. It's taxpayers' money. So I, as an individual, no, but can't listen. Don't take. So I, as an individual, have the right to go to prosecute. And so we funded the resources to go and find the individual. We funded the resources to prosecute the individual. In Liberian law, I don't know, Shannon's lawyer, criminal law is prosecuted by the government. And the government has refused because we believe that they were actually part of that conspiracy. So they have refused to prosecute the individual who we know stole the money. So we are still doing the best we can, working as hard as we can to bring that person to justice. Because whether in this case, whether part of public money to set the example, they stole my money, we want to go after them and set the example. And so that case is still ongoing, but we are being fought by the powers that be to contribution to this individual.
The presidency will allow on the board.
Thank you. No, we'll go to this brother right here, and then we'll go to.
I'm Mr. Gomez.
Yeah, we'll take two.
My name is Roland Roberts. Most of my issues are going to address, especially in terms of corruption issues like that. That's the reason. So my issue is, what are you going to do self-sufficiency in Africa? So that has been one of the major issues in self-sufficiency in Africa.
Thank you.
No, that's all.
How you doing, Honorable? My name is Christopher Kia. I'm not a politician. I'm not related to any political party in Nigeria because for the same dishonesty to the people of Nigeria, they are being abused. First of all, I'm a business owner. I have 4 businesses in America here. Home care, group home. I'm a real estate guru. I'm also owner of the medical transportation agency. I've left Liberia in 1999. I haven't been there. The reason being is because, well, the reason being is because the political system has failed the Liberian people. There's no security. I'm an investor. The reason I haven't been in Liberia to invest or to do anything is because of lack of security. In any developed country, in order for development to go on there, it has to be security for investors. So I heard your platform. These are the same record that we received from previous presidents. So I want to know what actually that you would do with healthcare, security, development of Liberia, moving the capital from Monrovia. The city is completely jammed. What are we doing to relocate the capital of Liberia? What would be your plan in creating a new capital for Liberia? And also for the city, the development and also breaking in industry or companies. Liberia don't have to leave Liberia to do anything here. We got a lot of resources that we can make use. So I want to actually see how you can what will be a change for the healthcare system in Liberia, the security system in Liberia, development in Liberia, and also for the industries in Liberia.
Let me give you the truth. So, first of all, I would argue with you. I would debate that our platform is the same as other people's platform. Seriously, right? And we need to make sure we publish our platform and share with you so you can see that it's not just superficial. It's actually very detailed, but not just what we will do, but how we will do it. A lot of other platforms is all about what? They're about platitudes. We talk about what we'll do, we talk about specifically how we will do these things. So that's one difference. Secondly, I don't agree. This is why I'm not a typical politician. I will not tell you what I think you want to hear. I'm not sure we should relocate the capital. I'm not sure that's a priority. I think there's
it's so jammed, sir.
Yeah.
No, I'm suggesting something.
No, it's okay to suggest, and all I'm saying, I don't agree with your suggestion.
Okay,
right?
I mean,
you're
not agree.
Yeah. So, and the reason why I don't think moving the capital is a priority today, because the money that will, you know what it will cost to move the capital? That money can be better spent on the things we talked about now: education, healthcare,
that will bring more development.
Infrastructure.
That will bring no development.
You want to answer the question or not?
I'm also answering, also making suggestions as well.
I didn't interrupt your question.
I have to.
Let me finish.
Oh, go ahead, sir.
I didn't interrupt your question.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Okay.
We need to invest in all the things you mentioned. So let me give an example of healthcare, what we will do differently. In everything we do, we gotta make choices. You know what killed most Liberians? Yasinis. Yeah, let's have one conversation.
Yeah, listen to you.
Yeah. You know what killed most Liberians today? 80% Liberians, you know particularly there are 6 things. Malaria, typhoid, hypertension, diarrhea, childbirth, and there's a 6 things that kills most Liberians today. We will focus on what they call primary health care. That means clinics around the country with drugs, with midwives, and with nurses who can administer those things. With birthing rooms, because childbirth is one of the top 6 killers in Liberia. Those are the things we'll focus on in healthcare to be different. We will follow the facts and the data. In education, we will focus on teachers training and vocational training, because there's a saying, garbage in, garbage out. If you don't have good teachers at university level, secondary level, middle school level, primary level, you're going to have poor students. So we're going to invest in teachers' education. I mentioned earlier 2-track training. We're going to make sure people have the option of going to vocational training if they choose to, or they can go to regular traditional training. So those are the areas we focus on there. You mentioned security and safety. Absolutely correct. With us, security and safety, nobody will invest in Liberia, whether it's Liberian or non-Liberians. So we gotta fix the judicial system. We gotta make sure people feel secure and safe in their communities, in their villages, in their homes. We gotta make sure the judicial system works, so that what they call sanctity of agreements, if you disagree with somebody, right, your contract disagreement, you gotta be sure that the president will not call the judge and rule against you. We got to make sure the judiciary is independent. So those are the things we do different. But I want to make sure we can send you the details of our platform, and you will see it's actually different. It's about the what, and it's about the how. And I promise you. And then when you read it, then we should have a conversation. I like the challenge, by the way.
Thank you.
And it's very appropriate.
Thank you.
That you're asking those challenges. All right. Then we need to hear from the Vice Senator Barrow.
You gotta recognize us too. I've been putting my hand up. I've been putting my hand up.
Hold on.
You haven't recognized me. I've been putting my hands up, and you keep ignoring me. Thank you.
You're gonna listen now?
Yeah, thank you. That's all.
So we, as a people, shame on us that after 175 years, as you put, we don't feed ourselves, right? So one of the things is, I think the third item in our platform, right? We talk about job creation, we talk about infrastructure, and then we talk about agriculture. We're investing in agriculture, investing in farming. And we will put the monies and resources to make sure we do that. We will make sure farmers have access to fertilizers, to equipment by reinvigorating the Liberian agriculture extension services. We will make sure there's a ready market for produce from farmers that they can sell, that they will make money, right? So the point is, we will invest in agriculture. We will make it a priority to make sure that we're investing in cash crops. And there's an assumption that, we gotta produce rice. And the answer is probably yes, but we're gonna look at the economics. It might be more efficient to produce spices, for example. So we gotta look at agriculture across the board. We gotta look at it differently. But the point is, it has to be a priority, and it's something we have to invest in, because it will help create jobs, it will feed ourselves, it will help strengthen the Liberian dollar. The multiplier effect of investing in agriculture is significant. If you look at our neighboring countries like Ghana, like Ivory Coast, they are agro-based economies. That's why they do a lot better than we do, because we're dependent on the extractive industries. So those are the things we do different, but we invest in agriculture to make sure we can feed ourselves.
So we'll go to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Folks, please, I beg you, can you just limit the question to maybe, just so that other folks can have a chance to go
Thank you
ahead.
very much. Mr. Gomez, thank you for coming. We appreciate you and your interaction. My name is Francis Yoyo. I have a couple of issues here that I would like to raise with Mr. Cummings. You already know what the problems are in Liberia. You have explained that to all of us here, so I don't need to go back into it. If I was to go across and see like 5 different candidates, I would see that their platform overlaps. The difference is the how. That makes a big difference. And every time the question is asked, we get political answers like, oh yeah, we will make sure we get this done. But the details, the devil, as they say, the devil is in the details. First, we talk about actual human development. You can build a skyscraper and people will break it down because the education, nationality, the sense of belonging. So one, our educational system. Our educational system, how are we going to fix this issue? The issue with drugs that is currently affecting our young people. 10, 20 years from now, we now have a society where we can't even get a future to depend on. The next thing is, let's look at the infrastructure development. With everything you have said, how are we going to do this? Our national security, food production, everything in line. Because what we're looking at is the future of this country. We are seeing that current and previous government have signed contracts, loans that have entrapped this country, our country rather. If you sign a contract or a loan contract that extends 20, 30, 40 years that entraps future generations, how are you going to deal with that? The issue of the port. I understand the National Port Authority, they signed a long-term deal. And now when your government comes in, your hands are tied. You can't undo those contracts. You're forced to work with those loans. How are you going to do that?
Okay, I think that question is clear now. Thank you. Thank you.
Good question.
Madam Vice President, my name is Frederick Anderson. I'm here with my mother, Pastor Shirley Anderson, and you were speaking my language earlier when you were talking about government. I've been away from Liberia. Stevie G! I just almost 20 years ago. I've been longing to give back to my town away. So what can I do to help your
All right, I will give Charlene the second question because that's easy. Actually, I should be the tougher one. So, I don't know if you, I think you were here from the beginning, right?
Very much, yeah. I've been
When I talked about the fact that one of our priorities is what we call engaging hearts and minds. You remember that?
Yeah.
About engaging the Liberian people in solving the issues, in getting the right mindsets, in using sports, religion, arts and culture to help change how we think about ourselves and about each other, right? But in terms of some of the hows, we apply to all of these things. One is we got to find the money to fix all of the things you talked about. So finding the money means we got to stop corruption. Finding the money means we got to make sure we're getting full value from our resources today. And I don't believe we are. Because with all the money, we'll not be able to fix any of the things we talked about. Another how I've often talked about is how we can use technology to help us solve many of these problems, to leapfrog where we find ourselves today. So using technology, I mentioned today in this country, you do everything on your cell phone. So technology is one of the hows. Third house, hearts and minds, mindsets of people. How we approach this problem is another one of the hows will do that. Fourth how is rule of law. People gotta follow the rule of law. People have to obey the rules. There gotta be consequences when you don't obey the rules. And those are some of the how. They may sound soft, but they're real. Because with all those things, fixing education, fixing healthcare, one will be difficult and one is not sustainable. You mentioned about education. If you're listening earlier, I said, in all of these sectors, we gotta make choices. We can't fix everything. Education, we're gonna focus on teachers training at university level, secondary level, all throughout. If you don't have good teachers, you will not get good outcomes. We have a two-track educational system, as I mentioned that. Healthcare, we'll focus on primary healthcare, as I mentioned. So we got very specifics, what we will do and how we will do it. Very clear. We got Liberians today, we got teams of people working on all of these sectors with very specific actions that will take on the one. So it's not just talk, it's not just platitude. I don't believe any other person running for president today, including President Mia, got people working on the details of what needs to happen to move the country forward, and we have people working on that as we speak. When Charlie joined the team, maybe she was surprised and I don't know, but she interacted with the teams of people. We are smart people, Liberian people, by the way. We just got to channel this experience and knowledge in the right direction. Let me have you take the question about how you can get engaged and help, but you can talk about anything you want to talk about.
Good afternoon. I am so honored to be standing here next to this great man and our future president, the next president of Liberia, Mr. Alexander Cummings. I think they're going to ask some questions and give me time to speak, so I'll just answer your question directly. But I want to first of all say thank you, because this is exactly what we need. I will be speaking tonight at the CPP convention. I'm assuming all of you will be there, and then you will hear in more detail how what you just said speaks to our hearts and how the Liberians in the diaspora, we owe such a huge thank you to you. And I think that this group often gets taken for granted. But the fact that you stood here and said this is what you've been doing for 30-something years and that you want to find a way to come back, we must first say thank you. So obviously I don't want to give you, yes, let's clap for you, for the group. I don't want to give you a superficial answer. Obviously we have to sit and have a discussion, because if you're serious about giving back to our country, then we are very serious. But we need to really sit and talk about what you can do in the next 3 months and what you can do after we have won. But I don't think it's an answer we can give here. But we just really sit down and we encourage every one of you. You know, I am sometimes Steve, I would be a little bit more diplomatic. Sometimes I'll be less diplomatic. But I want to speak to what you said to the gentleman here. And I think Mr. Cummings touched on this, but I really want to say that I also disagree that our platform or what we offer has been offered by the same Liberian politicians in the past. They have not. And I think people come and say that often. All the politicians seem. But I don't think you've ever read a true policy paper or proposal or agenda from any other opposition institution right now, political institution, or even the current administration. So I want us to go beyond, even as we engage the next 24 hours, the next 48 hours, to go beyond our talk, our narrative as usual. If you truly believe that there are other competing platforms, then we invite you also sit with us. Let us know how you can help us, But I really would challenge any other institution to show the how the way we have done it. So I just wanted to, but hopefully I will see you. You'll be there this evening. We'll talk again more, and let's see how we can really put not just our talk to action, but really show Liberians what we have. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll take 2 more. Yeah, for the youth. One second. The team has to run. We need microphone. Let's give the chance to other folks.
I know. I want to follow up, right?
1 second. Let him go. Go ahead.
All right, so I'm going to sound as patriotic as possible, so I'm speaking no serious. Me debate straight because of the first perception with the skin complexion, with where you come from. The day of me when I went to Liberia to get my passport, for me and Fred giving me a lot of run around. So I have 2 questions, and it can go for either Mr. Cummings or Sean.
Oh, you don't go one question at one?
Yeah. One would be, somebody already touched on it, the agriculture sector, right? I know you have a plan put in place, but we can't just put in place agriculture plans for farmers, give them machines to go in, then they produce and they can't get it out there, right? So for an example, Walmart is a big institution. They get farmers, they don't care who are the people in the market that are supposed to purchase a pepper or whatever. You produce it, you bring it to us, we store it, consumers come and buy it. What plans are you going to put in place for when farmers finish their the harvest, they bring it and give it to you guys, you buy it and then put it on the market yourself, and that way you can put them back into production. That's the first one. The second one is, you work in corporate America, I work in corporate America, right? So we all have differences, but the reason I'm bringing this up is because we tend to step on people because of their education background, but not for what they can bring to the table. So I will use me as an example. I came from Liberia. I don't have the biggest degree associated with where I stopped, but I work in a company who is a Fortune 500 company, and I'm an operations manager, and I oversee people who has doctorate degree because of what I bring to the table for the company. So I'm investing, I'm bringing a lot of things, so they are able to say, okay, this man can run this organization, even though he has an associate. We can get people that has master working under him. What is the narrative that will be changed when you are elected to say, okay, this person is capable of doing it despite the fact he doesn't have a master like maybe Conrad Yinga. He has a doctorate degree, so yeah, we're gonna have to put him in a bigger position, even though he's not capable of really performing as much as I am.
Why you call it Benny?
That's a great question, my brother.
On the question, no.
Okay, let's listen to the answer, folks. I beg you.
On the question about my work already market for people that produce, we will reestablish the Liberian Produce Market Corporation, because you're right. When farmers produce, they need to know that someone is going to buy the product, right? That's why the LPMC was established. That's what we need to reestablish. As a market of final resort, if you can't sell domestically, we'll buy from you, and we export it or whatever. We will reestablish the LPMC in Liberia. I don't know what happened to it, what that will be done, because you do need a ready market for your produce. On experience, there's a difference between, and I've lived this. So when I was running Coca-Cola Nigeria, I ran Coke Nigeria, and we used to often say there's a difference between formal education and experience and real life education. So when you talk to the Nigerian market woman, right, and you said 2 + 2, she may not know it's 4. But you said 2 naira, but 2 naira, you know it's 4 naira, right?
That's right.
The point is no formal education, but understood the economics of the business. So similarly, I'm not one for, there are certain areas where you need a technical expertise. So if you need an engineer to build a road, you gotta be an engineer. You can't be, there are other roads that require leadership, people who can lead, who can administer, who can coach, who can move people. That one you need to be to do it, by the way, right? So we'll look beyond the superficial nature of quote-unquote degrees and look at the actual experiences of people. What have they done? What have they delivered? Some people confuse a lot of activity with results. Complete two different things, right? So we'll look at the experience, we'll look at what you've done, we'll look at the specific of what the job requires, and then we'll make the selection. Not because you got PhD. Some people got PhD and they only can do it in the lab, right? They can't do the practical. So we want the practical experience. We want people who can lead. Formal education, well, let's very translate to being smart, right?
You can buy a PhD at Jovia.
All right, so
How would define you?
You got two questions, but the first question, first of all, I told me, David, I don't know why the minute say something American, but I graduated from school, I graduated from high school, I graduated from like Harry Baptist Business School. So anybody that graduated from like Harry Baptist. And the first question we got, what strategies could you implement to improve the quality of education in Liberia, particularly rural areas, and ensure access of education for all children? That's number one. Number two, we just want to know your take on homosexuality and gay rights in Liberia. That's the two questions we got.
Let me answer the second question first on gay rights and sexuality. First of all, there's this what I call sort of vicious lie about the fact that there's a college gay or bring gay lifestyle to Liberia. It's complete bullshit. When people can accuse you of stealing people's money, when they can accuse you of being involved in war, anything, people don't make up stuff. They don't make up shit. Excuse my language, right?
Yeah.
So it's complete nonsense.
Nonsense.
I've mentioned earlier, I don't know if, I'm sure you were here, right? You play in the game, right? Yeah. I'm married to Teresa, 2 children, 5 grandchildren. I believe in traditional family values, so it's complete bullshit, complete nonsense. And you know, let's dispel that tonight in this forum, and as I've done in many other forums. But let me address that one. On the educational system, you know, I mentioned earlier. Look, everything Liberia needs to be fixed, and I will not sit here and tell you we'll fix everything overnight. That's not possible, that's not practical, and that will not be true. This is why I keep saying we gotta make choices, we gotta prioritize even within the priorities. So education is a priority, but within education we gotta prioritize. And I mentioned within education we'll focus on getting qualified teachers across the country, not just in Morocco, and at all levels. Because if you don't have good university professors, if you don't have good high school teachers, the outcome, there's a saying, garbage in, garbage out, the outcome, the students will not be good. So we gotta focus on teachers, we need right people, paid well, with the right skills to impart knowledge, right? The other area I said we'll focus on is vocational training. Give librarians a choice. And these things are not just from Monrovia, it's being national. We gotta make sure people have that option. The other thing I didn't mention we'll do, but we'll use technology to help us in education, right? Because today we don't have the number of qualified teachers to lead across the country. So if we have a good teacher who's sitting in Ghana, or sitting in Harbour, or sitting in Saclapie, they can be on their phone, they can be using technology, they can be on Zoom, and they can be teaching people from other parts of Nigeria. I have had conversations, political conversations with people, right? Sitting actually in the United States. One time I was actually in Nigeria, and one time I was in Harbour talking to people in Lima using technology. And so we can instruct our young people, we can leverage the few positions we have, the subject matter experts, until we can get more of the quantity to put them around it. So technology, this is why it's one of the key focus of ours. infrastructure, is technology, because we can leverage it to fix a lot of the issues we're talking about. So let's just take a few more and then.
All right, so I'm gonna go to the female because I know she's asked before, but I was still going to her since she's still with you.
I have another question. When I was in Liberia, I noticed that a lot of us go into Liberia and we start building. I saw some beautiful buildings in Liberia, and most of them was owned by people that was out of the country. But what I noticed the most was the process of building. I went to purchase seed. And when I got to the ground of purchasing the sand, the Chinese people, the ones are on the water, sucking the mineral out of our water. Absolutely. I didn't see Liberians doing the work, getting the money for our sand that's in our water.
America would not allow that.
The Chinese men was sucking the sand out of our water. You understand me? We're paying a certain amount per bag, per truck, by the truck. Yep. So I'm asking if the Chinese can come into our country and suck our land dry, because when they're sucking the sand, they're not only sucking the sand. We have minerals that are in our waters that they're sucking out, but nobody can hear about those five. All they know is sucking sand. So my question to you is, what do we do to stop these people from coming into our country to make them some multi-millionaires when we're in our country suffering? What are we going to do to stop the corruption of the outside?
Hey! One question.
I want to talk about the security in Liberia. Like, tourists like go there. We are not really secure. There's a lot of criminals, a lot of crimes, a lot of things going on. And I want to speak on the drug system too. We're having our brothers, kids, everybody are using drugs and smoking drugs in the country. So my question is, what are you going to do?
Okay. So the question about rules and regulations. You know, I mentioned earlier that we want a country where everybody has to follow the rules. Whether you're Liberian, you're foreigner, so whether you're Chinese, you're Lebanese, you're American, everybody has to follow the rules of our country. I also, and we make very public, unapologetically, that Liberians are going to benefit from our country, from the resources of our country. Liberians are going to benefit from the economic growth we will bring to Liberia. Liberians are going to benefit disproportionately from that growth. And so we are unapologetic about that. If the rules allow Chinese to do whatever, if our rules allow, we'll let them do it. If the rules don't allow, we're not letting them do it. Whoever they are. But we enforce the rules. Everybody gotta follow the rules. And again, we'll be unapologetic in our rules that Liberians gotta disproportionately benefit from our country. And we'll make no apologies about that. Because even for the foreigners, for it to be sustainable, Liberians gotta benefit. That's true. Right? So we are very clear about that. I'm very clear that when we invest in Liberian businesses, we invest in making sure Liberians got the financing to be the people that are importing today. To be the people that, whether it's extracting, say whatever, we want to make sure that Liberians are taking a lead on it. Right? So no apologies, that's something that will happen, and will happen from day one. The question the gentleman had about security, right? I think I mentioned earlier that you would get nobody to invest in Liberia if people don't feel safe. And today, I think the president, not too long ago, maybe a year or so, will say Liberia should get CCTV. What nonsense, right?
Pure nonsense.
It is foundational to leadership to provide safety and security for the people. People have to feel safe in their homes, in their communities, in their villages. Today, that's not the case in Liberia. We will make sure Liberians feel safe. We will make sure the police, I mentioned earlier, are paid. They are paid, they're given the equipment, they're given the resources, and they're given the right leadership We don't want partisan leadership. Today, the Liberal National is led by partisans. We want professional. I don't care whether you're CDC, you AFC, you Liberty Party, you UP. If you're a professional, you qualify, you can lead any organization in our country. But we want professionals to lead the security sector in Liberia and make sure we provide security and safety and that the judicial system works. We have a lawyer. This one was the first in her class when she took the bar. Right? So we will make sure the rule of law prevails in Liberia because it is foundational for economic growth. Without that, you can forget growing the economy.
In the drugs.
Similarly with drugs. You know, we will stop the drugs supply in the country. We punish those who bring in drugs. You know, they say there's some big hands benefiting today. We'll make sure we cut off those big hands. And stop the black and gold. All right?
We're going to be somewhere today where going to another place. We have a tight schedule. If you have a question to ask, I beg you can follow us there. We certainly have to make that schedule. Okay? Thank you. You're very well. Thank you very much. You got to respect us.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you for giving or becoming the undivided attention and on behalf of the Liberian community. I want to say thank you for I look forward to seeing you guys.
3-second question to ask.
Thank you.
My sister, thank you for coming. Thank
I did a good live for 1 minute. I did a good live for 1 minute.
I couldn't send them that.
You know what?
Exactly. But you're treating the people in the car. You know what you bet. Exactly.
They get the game. They